Sherry Winston. I'm an author. I'm on a journey, on a quest to write my very first adult novel. I've written 14, 15 novels for children and young readers. I love writing for them. I love going to schools. I love school visits. If I could just spend the rest of my life just traveling the country, going to schools and reading to children and getting them excited about books, my books, other books, finding out what they want to read and write, I would literally make a career out of that because that's how much I love it. Even so, I've had a dream for a long time that one day I would like to write an adult murder mystery. It's sort of an homage to my mom. I grew up reading Sidney Sheldon and Mary Higgins Clark because those were the books that my mom read, and I would read after her. And I ate those books up. I loved the fact that in a mystery, you got a good puzzle. My family sort of jokingly called me Nancy Drew because I was constantly trying to figure things out. And so it's been a lifelong dream of mine. And I thought, well, while I'm working on my dream, why don't I try and help someone else work on theirs? So even though I've written 14, as I said, 14 to 15 books that have been published by four different publishers, I am still as nervous as a newbie when it comes to this because I've never done this. It's not the same. And I wanted to share that part of the journey with you guys and talk to you about some real things in terms of me trying to get this book out into the world, trying to actually um, start this idea that I've had for a long time. So I wanted to talk to you guys about that and about something that inspires me in my scene building, in my storytelling, and that is winter. I know it's freaky, right? I'm not even somebody who likes the winter. Like my brother, Stephen, Sam, that's his name. We don't even start with me with that. Sam, if you listen, you know I'm talking about you. But that boy would get so excited. Oh, it's snow on the ground. Oh, it's going to be snow for Christmas. And the problem with Christmas snow is sometimes it don't have a calendar. It don't have a watch. It don't know that we done with it. It need to leave. I grew up in Michigan. We had snow everywhere. But I think that a lot of how I viscerally respond to snow and snowscapes. It's not just being in the snow. If I'm looking through pictures and I come across a group of snowy landscapes and that sort of thing, I immediately, the writer in my brain starts working out a story. There are stories everywhere hidden behind every snowbank for me. So obviously, this first novel that I'm writing is set in a snowy locale. I have this character, and she is going to live in this small Michigan town, and it's wintry. And she is working on her very first adult novel because she needs a change. And she is researching this story. And wouldn't you know, when she goes to interview her first source, the person is dead. Now that part I've got. I'm cooking. I wrote that first chapter. I had it going. I knew what I was doing. But I want this to be a romance too. And I've never written a romance. But it's a challenge that I would like to take on. I've really enjoyed a lot of the contemporary romances that have come out. Jasmine Gilroy, or is it Guillory? I think it's Guillory. I think I just called her Gilroy. Emily Henry. I am going to talk to you about a couple of books that whose scenes have really helped me in my quest to create the story I'm trying to create. I feel bad to even admit this, but I'm among friends, so I'm gonna go ahead and tell you. Before last year, when I really got into watching BookTube and Book Talk and everything, I had never heard of Shanora Williams. lifelong reader. How did I miss her? And I am so glad that you guys turned me on to her. I read this. My first Shanora Williams book was The Wife Before, and she has created this character who is into this guy who is a golfer. And she doesn't know, but she finds out soon enough that some people think that he murdered his first wife. And it's tumultuous between them at first. His name is Roland, and she is just like, I don't know what to do, but she loves him. He gets her. He laughs at her jokes. They're just uh, it, it's just in there. And they are passionate together. So she decides to take a chance on this guy. So now, not to give too much away, but she winds up in the mansion in the mountains or hillsides of Colorado, where the wife died during the winter. They said the car went off the road and it just killed her. But other people think that maybe he had something to do with it, and you know how the less people know, the more they like to talk, that kind of thing. So he's a part of that campaign, or he is the victim of that campaign. And she is ready to be his ride or die. Baby, I'm down with you. I don't care what these people say. And then she takes on the role of clearing out his widow, his dead wife's creative shed, and making it into her own. Upon which time she stumbles upon a group of journals. And I'm going to read to you the opening thing when she first discovers the journal. And the thing that just kept me, you'll see. This journal belongs to Melanie Rain. Oh, shit. I flipped through the pages quickly, and each one was filled with words, all seemingly handwritten by her. Something in the back of my mind screamed for me to close it and throw it, burn it, along with the photos. I couldn't bring myself to do it. I read the first line. When did everything between me and Roland go wrong? And then the next line. And then I sat in the dusty green chair and kept reading. Before I knew it, I was completely riveted. Now, I want you to know something. This is how good Shanora Williams is. This is chapter 25. So she managed to keep me like engaged, like turning the page. I need to know what's next. I need to know what's next. She kept me like that for 24 chapters before we get to the nitty gritty of what's going to be going on in this novel. You got to be a bad girl to be able to do something like that. And let me tell you, just the whole idea of these found memories, and it's the way that it's told in the book. It's like Melanie is her own character, and she is talking, and the main is talking, and you're inside both of their heads, and it's just like mind blowing. It was a really good book, really good. I loved learning from her. My book isn't set up. I don't have any plans to have that epistolary. I don't know if that's what you call journaling. I know that's for letters, but I don't plan to have that device in my book. But I do love it when it's well done. And in The Wife Before, it is very well done. So to you, Miss Shanora Williams. You did your thing, and you have inspired me, because I read this and I can immediately remember how I was when I got to that. Like, I literally yelled out, black people, when we read, it's just like when black people go to the movies, we be talking to the book. Oh no, child, don't read it, throw it away, don't read that book. But she gonna read it because you would read it. But she oughtn't, as my granny would say, she oughtn't do it, but she gonna do it. So, I found myself yelling at this book and talking to this book. Like, it was a lot of fun. It was a fun ride, and I was very happy that I added this to my winter repertoire, because it was really good. I'm going to go to another book that I read years and years ago. There is an author that I do believe I mentioned in my first video, um, called John Sandford, and he is phenomenal. He does not write romantic thrillers or mystery romance. He is a former Pulitzer Prize winning journalist in Minnesota, and he writes a character, several different characters, but in this series, the Prey series, Prey, he writes about a detective. And they're like 28, 29 books. I mean, we've gone from him adopting this girl that he found in the woods to now, I think she's his daughter, and I think now she's in the FBI. So I've read these books over a long span of time, and I've gotten to know the characters really well. And I applaud the fact that they are not stagnant. They grow, they change over the years. He used to be this active, fit guy, and he still tries. He tries his darndest, but it's like when the old dudes are out on the basketball court, for him, Minnesotan, he is ice hockey. But anyway, he writes winter like, I mean, I have this passage marked, but it's not really the passage that I want, because what brings me back to this book time and time again is this opening. And I'm just going to read you. This is from the very first chapter of Winter Prey by John Sandford. The wind whistled down the frozen run of Shasta Creek between the blacker than black walls of pine. The thin, naked swamp alders and slight new birches bent before it. Needlepoint ice crystals rode it like sandpaper grit, carving arabesque whorls in the drifting snow. The Iceman followed the creek down to the lake, navigating as much by feel and by time as by sight. At 6 minutes on the luminous dial of his dive watch, he began to look for the dead pine. 20 seconds later, its weather-bleached trunk appeared in the snowmobile headlights, hung there for a moment, then slipped away like a hitchhiking ghost. I mean, come on. You don't want to know what happens next? You don't want to read the rest of that? I I want desperately to figure out how to mimic his pacing and sense of an internal clock, several clocks. He usually has several ticking clocks for various things in his book, along with the impassioned, very personal sort of approach that Shanora Williams has in her book. I'm trying to merge those two in my book, and make it not just plausible, but make it fun, make it hot. I mean, who wants to read a romance and it don't have any hot in it? I mean, I'm not making smut, but I can make it hot. So that's what I'm doing. This is what I'm working on. This is how I stay motivated. I want to engage with my story and feel as impassioned about it as I do Mr. Sanford's and Miss Shanora Williams. And that's what I want for you, babies. Spend a few days thinking about what really moves you. What piece of writing have you read where you were just like, oh, this was just so good? Whether it's a passage or a whole book, if you need to copy it and stick it up somewhere. I mean, you need to feel that burn, that fire, to motivate you and push you through these dark days of winter. So that's all I have for now. I love you, babies. Take care and do your homework. Bye bye.